Give it just a second. Yeah, don't hit the table.
I see that. Wow.
All right, go
Ready?
ahead.
I think I'm going.
All right, you ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
And we are live. I'm here.
Hey.
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 Rob McGhin with Southern Classic Real Estate. With Southern Classic Realtors, we are here in the house. And as promised, I told you last week that I'm going to have the hardest working man in real estate here with me in studio. And we have Mr. Ronnie Layton from the Real Estate Book.
Thanks, guys. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited about it. Just so everyone knows, so they can be graceful in the comments. This is my first Facebook Live video, so praise God, I'm following Rob's lead here.
So, first Facebook Live. He is my first Facebook Live guest. So, congratulations on being the first guest
Thank you.
on whatever I'm going to call this.
Yeah, Rob's real estate analysis.
I was thinking about the real estate roundup.
I like it.
Something crazy
I
like
like
that.
it.
But Ronnie, tell me about yourself. Tell me what you do.
Well, I am I'm an owner and publisher of the Real Estate Book. Actually, I have a corporation named Maximum Media Group, and within that corporation, I house both the Real Estate Book of South Georgia, which is what we're going to talk about today, and I also own a franchise in North Florida. So I've got the Real Estate Book of North Central Florida.
How long you been doing that?
Started back in my family. My mom and dad did it in the '90s for years and years, and then after the market crashed, they both went into different occupations, and so I started back in probably mid 2015, and again, it was not long after the crash, so it was still kind of a difficult time to come in and to build it, but. We launched North Central Florida again. It had no pages, and then South Georgia had about seven pages in it, and I'm at 32 on both, respectively now. So they've grown, quite a bit in the interim. And again, it's just trying to figure out ways to be creative, to remain relevant for circulation and exposure, because ultimately we're all left with the same bottom line, which is not only are we trying to make money, which is an important factor, but I learned a long time ago a spiritual principle of if you won't focus on the money, but you'll instead allow God to work through you to focus on serving other people, the money will come. It's kind of it's just kind of an offshoot of being a servant.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Didn't mean to preach there.
you
Sorry about that,
preaching today. It's good. It's good. We need a little preaching. We need a lot more of that in real estate.
Right on.
A lot of people are just after the money.
Right.
But you take care of the clients, and the money will come.
Absolutely.
But so you print the real estate book, North Florida, South Georgia. How many people do you reach with the real estate book?
So we've got in North Florida, my territory basically scans. We've got Lake City, Live Oak, Jasper, Mayo, Jennings, Madison, basically that swab there in North Florida. I print 5,000 copies there, just like I do here in South Georgia. We start right over the Georgia line. So I go Jennings all the way to North Florida. Then I hit Lake Park, Clyattville. I guess there's Bellevue. But I start there, and then I go all the way, up through Hahira, Adel, around to Nashville, Georgia. Shout out Nashville, Georgia. I've got a home there in Nashville that I stay at. And then we do also Lakeland, of course, Moody Air Force Base, in Valdosta, Remerton. In each one of those, we have 5,000 hard copies. But again, guys, and I think that many of you, will be able to relate to this. Look, we're in a situation where we are working not just for buyers, but we're also working with our sellers. And so I try to take myself out of an occupational role and just tried to personalize it. And I just thought to myself, this is many years ago, what would I want if I were trying to sell my house? How would I want that to be marketed? Because basically that's what we're doing. We're trying to market circulation and exposure for these homes. We got to get them in the hands of people. So you'll hear a lot of people, talking about, well, you can't do print because print's dead. But yet all of us go to the mailbox and we got a stack of advertorials in there that high.
Mm-hmm.
So I started thinking, okay, but you can't just do that, because now we've got the web. So many people look for things on the web, Siri or OK Google. So anyway, I began to think about if it were me and I were trying to sell my home, what would I want my real estate agent to be doing? How would I want them to get my home into the hands of potential buyers? And so I started. This is when Facebook was kind of new. I started out. We launched a Facebook business page and Instagram, Twitter. And so the thing I like about Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is I can go from the Instagram platform and I can cover both Twitter and Facebook on those posts. And so many of you will know, my clients will recognize that, I'm the hashtag guy.
Oh yeah, hashtag.
Yeah, but listen, hashtags are important, and I'm not trying. I know this is most everyone knows this. For the people who don't, it's something to think about. So when you go in and you see someone, Rob, let's say that you're, selling Melissa's house, and how are you going to market it for? Well, you're going to do social media. So you're going to take photos of that home. You're going to upload it onto your Instagram platform. Then at the bottom of that, prior to you sharing it, you're going to share both to Facebook and to Twitter. You're going to have to say something about it because she wants these people to know, listen, she's sitting on 86 acres. It's a historical, both, commercial and residential, whatever the details are, you're going to want to put that in there. But in order to build that audience, you do a hashtag. So if you hashtag, say, new listing, that means that everyone who clicks on that hashtag, both on Instagram and Facebook, those social media portals as well as Twitter, it'll take you to that entire audience so that anyone who's ever posted hashtag new listing, those will come up and you can see those.
Right. So you're marketing not just with the book on the Facebooks and the platforms, and you're doing this to promote the pages in the real estate book, also clients that you have who run ads in the real estate book. Correct. As well.
Correct.
Okay. You mentioned Moody Air Force Base, which is a big hub here, and we sell a lot of homes out at Moody. And you've teamed up with the military.
I have indeed.
Tell me about that.
Well, the one thing that I didn't have a problem doing for many years was being able to get my book into the hands of soldiers and their families once they're here. Because we on our physical distribution route, we've got about approximately 150 outdoor and indoor racks. So if you go into Old Times Country Buffet, shout out Mama June's, shout out Smoking Pig. We've got both outdoor and indoor racks there, right? And so they respectively put out about 500 a month on each one of those three, mostly from the indoor racks. Because if you're sitting out waiting in the books there, you're going to pick that up. And we're a digest size, Rob, not because we're, listen, Reader's Digest wasn't a digest size because they didn't have the money to go full size. Two things. This, more convenient. Research shows you can put it in your pocket. Women will put it in their purse. You're not going to do that with a Cosmopolitan. You're going to set it back down, right? But also, and this is important, another part of the what I've incorporated into, not only have I partnered with the military, and we're going to get into that in just a second, but also with the post office. And so if you'll notice on all of my books, you'll see there's an indicia tag up here. And this means I partner with the United States Postal Service, and I go in each month, depending on who's on the cover, and we pick routes. And for Jason Dove, your fellow Southern Classic Realtor, on the cover this time. You were last time.
I was on there last month.
Indeed you were. And I think you did Eager, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
We did North Valdosta. We did the Country Club
one.
area, and we did Eager in that
We might have done
area.
3 on that one. In any event, what we do is we go in and we look at the neighborhoods that we want to target. A few things for you to think about when you're targeting a neighborhood and trying to sell homes. You want to be sure and target neighborhoods that have a median income that's enough to sustain. In other words, if you got a $755,000 home, you don't necessarily want to target that in an area where the median income is less than 20,000. But all those things are on the portal, and so we can go in and sit down and we can hover over that to find out those median incomes, and then target that area. And then I get my kids. We all sit around, Indian style in front of the fireplace, and we tag these rascals, and we rubber band them, and we stack them, and then I get up first thing in the morning, and I take off and go to the post office, and we submit them to the postal service there, and then they put them on the truck first thing in the morning. That's the direct mail campaign. So it's important.
I am sideways, or you're sideways?
I am. Oh. We're getting some technical advice here.
Oh, well,
I don't know if mine can turn up.
well, you might be sideways
Okay.
on the real estate book, but you know what? I don't think everybody, if you're watching from my page or from the real estate book page, I think we are right.
Okay. Is my head facing up? Can you see me? Is it this right here? Can you see it right there?
No, it's right.
Is it? Huh.
Interesting.
I don't
Interesting.
know about that.
If you're seeing us sideways,
Yep,
forgive us.
Yeah, we're gonna get better at this. Either way, thanks, Dad. But we're gonna getting back to the direct mail campaign. That's just another thing that I thought about. Look, especially during this pandemic, we doubled it during the pandemic. And we did that because we realized that perspective. The market's still hot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, we're still selling homes. Listings are coming in. Prices are looking good. Everything's going good. But I don't know how much people were necessarily, because the restaurants were closed down. We knew that all of our indoor racks were shut down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of a pickup rate I had on the outdoor racks. Everyone was a little nervous. So I said, well, what they're not nervous about doing is looking in their mailbox, because everybody's waiting on their stimulus check. I didn't, happen to. But anyway, so I thought, well, that's what we'll do. And so we've doubled it up, and we direct mailed those out. So just in your mind, that you can think about, we've covered social media, right? So we got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter and Instagram are even more so important anymore, because as my kids have informed me, Facebook's for old people.
Old people? I'm not old.
So I do Instagram, I do Twitter. We've got Pinterest and LinkedIn.
We're gonna have to start working on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know how to work any of that stuff. I got my daughter, who at the time when we started all this was 16. She's 20 now. And I just said, hey, can you help me set up an Instagram page? And so anyway, she did, and we done that. So we cover social media. And then we've got our direct mail campaign, and I want to come back, if it's okay. Now, if you got other questions, but I want to come back and dovetail on the question that you initially asked, was with the military. Mm-hmm. And what I was saying was that, I had no problem getting these into the hands of these people once they were here, but because I'd never been in the military, shout out to veterans, I didn't know that they received their PCS. Mm-hmm. I think it's called a PCS.
Permanent change of station.
Permanent change of station orders. Weeks before, obviously, they would get here, And so I started thinking, again, trying to just be creative. And, okay, well, what can I do? So I reached out to the Air Force Base, and they've got mybaseguide.com. And we went in and we invested in becoming a military trusted business. And like we went through, the pre-qualifications and the list of things that they would have us to do so that we could be deemed military trusted. And then not only do we have these hard copy magazines, which again is important, but we also have ebooks. And so my ebook is a digital link of the very same thing that I'm holding in my hand. And so the only thing is, instead of turning the pages, obviously you click to turn the page. And so what we're able to do when, these soldiers and their families are preparing to receive their papers, they're informed of how to go on mybaseguide.com and how to look at those different, not just real estate, but I mean, she may be pregnant and she's going to need an obstetrician. She may need, you're going to need to know where the hospitals are, what daycares, what zip code am I going to, And so it's a way for these men and women to be able to go in and investigate and to get as prepared as they can, while simultaneously me on the back end, I'm just saying, hey, listen, we've got, I'm partnered with the top, real estate agents, brokers, and affiliates in South Georgia. And so it's a way for us to be able to get these listings into their hands digitally, if not literally.
Awesome. Well, I know that I have people call me, and I think a lot of people call me straight from picking up the thing and seeing my number, because they will not know anything about. They'll just say, I saw this house, and I think the address was, so and so.
Right.
Not have it completely wrong. I'll say, oh, well, tell me a little bit more. What did you read? I saw it in the book.
Yeah.
I saw it in the book at, old times.
Yeah, and it's so funny, too, because I've got family. I'm actually originally from South Florida, so my daddy still actually lives in Lakeland. And so many years ago, I started thinking about all these rest stops. And even in Georgia, coming the other way, we've got our Welcome Center. And so each month I go by there and I take a stack and I hand it to the ladies back there, so that if these people come in and they're like, we're considering and contemplating a move to South Georgia, she reaches up on her desk and go, well, here's the listings. Here's our latest listings in South Georgia. And so I have a lot of phone calls too. You'd be amazed, I guess, because obviously my name's on the front, and it's not clearly delineated that I'm not a real estate agent, but I've got so many people that call me, and it's so funny because they act, and again, I love them. I love everybody. I'm gonna be like Jesus, but they'll be like, hey, that house on Country Club? And I'm like, oh, Country Club in Georgia, Country Club in Florida? No, I don't have that, that one, but I can put you in touch with someone who can,
Right. So how often does the book come out?
So every 28 days. And the reason we do that, obviously, is February has a 28 days. So what we didn't want to do is do it once a month. So every 28 days, and this is important too, because a lot of people think to themselves, well, that's just too much, right? But the market's hot. And if you have a home that comes on, I mean, a lot of times for a long time, some of these homes were selling before they were even uploaded into the MLS fully. And so what you don't want to do is you don't want to come in and have a bunch of listings that are either expired because you're doing it quarterly, or they've already sold. And for your sellers as well, you want to be able to, let's say that you're doing a half page and you can fit up to 8 listings on a half page, right? And you have 27 listings. What you don't want to do is you don't want your sellers to be able to pick up the book or go out to their mailbox and be able to get this in the mailbox and say, well, listen, I'm not being rude, but I'm just out of curiosity. How come you're not advertising my home? It's good for you to be able to say, well, you must have picked that up, just last week. Let me assure you, that next week you will be in there, so that you can feature their home as well.
Right. Yeah, I like to rotate mine, so you're not seeing the same house over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
You're rotating it, and then I'm trying to get all my clients on there on the real estate book, and it's nice to be able to go in and tell a client, look, I invest in your house. I invest in trying to sell your house. I market your house this way, this way, this way. Also on the real estate book. Also through the military, we send them books, and it's online.
Absolutely. Well, ultimately, the truth is, just like, and I tell my clients this, look, I work for you. Let's just be completely honest. You're my friend, and I care about you, and I'd help you out if you had a flat tire. But ultimately, you're my boss. And so if ever you see things that, are happening like that, or you could, you say, hey, I get my nails done at, well, not you, but one of the ladies would say, hey, I get my nails done or my hair cut at, at this location. You should put some books there. I go in, and I'm just like, hey, guys, how you doing? My name's Ronnie. I'm a local entrepreneur, and how would you feel about us? And normally, people are all about supporting local businesses, especially after what we've just been through here recently. People realize that, listen, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm pretty confident that the corporations aren't hurting.
Right.
But small mom and pop businesses and people like us who are independent contractors, and they are, so we want to find a way to be able to support them as well.
So, who's on your team besides you? Which I know you're doing a lot of the running, and you said your kids are, helping you.
Yeah, they're going to be. Shout out to Ronnie, Zoe, and Ethan. Yeah, they definitely, especially with the direct mail campaign, because it's time consuming to separate.
Now, is this slave
everything.
labor that
Pretty
we have
much,
contract?
because just like today was my son's birthday. Shout out to E. His birthday was today, and so
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ethan. I woke up this morning and I shot over to Florida and I picked up an ice cream. He was supposed to be there tonight. We were going to do steak and shrimp on the grill or whatever. But anyway, let me digress. I didn't mean to get sidetracked there. Happy birthday, Ethan. Yeah, they are slave labor. I don't, pay them to help. But
It better be a big steak.
yeah. But that's the direct mail campaign, and so I've got Megan Rudnicki, who is she's also an owner publisher of Lakeshore Living Guide, Lakeshore Home Guide. Shout out to her. But she handles all of my graphics, which is a lot. So she's who you get when we start.
She emails me every month.
Every month, it's hey, listen, guys, we're getting production together. We're fixing to get started. We're trying to get this ad copy in. So she handles everything. She does the workload of the building the ads, reaching out. In theory, I'm out hustling, selling, trying to build relationships, trying to get new advertisers. And then I've got a distribution team. I don't know. Do you know Victoria Ordway here?
Yes.
Well, her grandson, Will Voorhees, shout out Will. He heads my distribution in South Georgia. So each and every month he's out, he's hustling, he's going to Lakeland and to Ray City and Nashville and then in Lake City I've got Greg Hall. Who heads my distribution? And he also does photos for my North Central Florida. A lot of my agents and brokers there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So and we've all been together. I want to say I started just initially. I was a sales representative back in 2015. In 2017, I believe, maybe late 2016, they reached out to me because of the success that we'd had, and just said, "How would you feel about being an owner, a franchise owner?" And listen, I'm just going to be completely honest. I feel great about it, but I don't have any money. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be, I don't have a lot of, what would they say? Liquid.
Capital.
Exactly. So anyway, make a long story short, they made me an offer. They in-house financed it to me, and so we were able to close on it. I got that paid off not too long afterwards. So I've owned it. And I like being able to own it, Rob, because I'm sure, you've experienced this too. I get a lot more leeway, a lot more freedom.
And a lot more say-so.
You do. You know what I mean? So just like with my covers, I'm able to do our military trusted business. And when you're working for someone else, you kind of, that's their decision, more than it is yours. So anyway, it's been an awesome vehicle, that God has been able to place in my life in order for him to be able to basically work through me, in those avenues. And then I launched Maximum Media Group, I think in March of 2019. And it pretty much encompasses everything, because what I don't want to do, when you look at the market trends over the past couple of decades, the one thing I don't want to be is I don't want to be locked into being dependent on someone else in order to provide me the opportunity. So once I had the success to be able to become a publisher and an owner, then I realized that, listen, a franchise is nice. And McDonald's and Burger Kings are nice, but you're not going to be able to, get a Whopper at McDonald's.
Right.
And so I may have a customer that wants a Whopper. And so in order for me to be able to have the freedom to be able to serve and to give the people that partner with me the circulation and exposure that they need, I realized that I was going to have to, be able to be independent in that. I still love the real estate book. I still market the real estate book. We still do it. But in the background, I'm hitting Facebook, social media. We've got the Maximum Media Group website. And so we've got a Southeastern type of website. We've got a nationally syndicated website. We've got nationally syndicated partners, the Wall Street Journal, the Robb Report.
Hey,
Just
I didn't
a-
know you were
hey.
on my report.
Just to touch base with that a little bit because it's confusing. Let me tell you what that is. So homes that qualify that are within the boundaries of their ramifications and whatever declarations that they so have for anyone, not just the real estate book. We partner with them so that those homes that do qualify price wise, and it's mostly luxury listings. They flow through not just our nationally syndicated real estate book website, not just our Maximum Media Group website, not just our social media and our distribution, but also those syndicated partners. So we just pay a fee each month. You pay a few $1,000s to those big corporations, and we all partner together to nationally syndicate those out on the website. So it's kind of a good deal.
Cool. All right. Well, we're coming up on about a half hour.
Are we really?
Yeah, it goes quick.
Wow,
doesn't it?
It does. We were talking earlier, and because this was the first time I've done this, and I was like, he said, "Did you did you have a list of questions or whatever?" And I had mentioned it to him last week when we talked about doing this. I was like, "Hey, should I prepare?" And he goes, "Man, just be you, just be yourself." So I said, "No, I don't have anything."
One of my good friends, he's stationed in Korea right now, and he says, "You do you."
Yeah,
You
like
do
that.
you, and that's enough.
That's it.
That's what I try to do. And this is why I really like you,
Well, thank you.
because we could show up and we would be basically wearing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
We'd be wearing a polo
Yeah.
and some shorts
Exactly.
and some tennis shoes.
Absolutely.
Comfortably casual.
Comfortably casual. And you made a statement too. We did something new this last issue, and we did a matte finish, and it kind of has a velvety feel. But it was that same kind of thing where, look, whether you're buying a house or whether you're selling a house or a lot or building a house or whatever it is, people do business with people that they like and that they respect.
Let me
And,
put this up here.
you
This
know,
is the brand new one. Is this one been mailed out yet?
Today we did Kinderloo. The preserve went out. Kinderloo went out today, and we've got Eager subdivision, or maybe North. We got another campaign going out tomorrow. So yeah, look in your mailbox.
So let me see. Let me just turn to.
I think you're on page.
I
on
am.
the same page 9.
Which?
There you are.
There, man.
There
Yeah, man.
it is.
So there I
Military
am.
trusted business as well.
Military trusted business. We got the new matte black finish.
Yep.
Or Ronnie
Matte.
has the new black
Yeah.
matte finish. So hit him up on his Facebook page. What is the best way to get in contact with you?
Probably to call me, because the one thing that I always on the front of all the magazine, it has my number. But again, I've got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. But certainly would be to call me
Ronnie's
on the
page.
cell phone.
But you've also it's not just a book for real estate. You also you partner with other
Absolutely,
entities, nonprofits, other businesses,
for sure.
maybe real estate related,
Pretty much
financing,
real estate related. Yeah.
but also
Service related.
Service
because
related.
Listen, the United Way, we've partnered with them, and a shout out to Miss Brown there who partnered with the United Way in Prime Properties. But again, ultimately, I feel like even though I'm a real estate oriented, obviously. Listen, when someone gets ready to buy a home, they may have some questions in regard to title information, or and so we have Berkshire Wood. We partner with him, who is a real estate attorney, and not just real estate attorney, but certainly that. And then we have CBC Bank. We partner with Drummond Bank. We partner with United Way. Again, it's what we like to think about is that we're community driven and we're community oriented, and whatever it is in our community, really that kind of we're all in it together. So we want to be able to lend a helping hand in any way that we can.
Definitely. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna try to do this once a month.
Once a month.
You're
You're gonna do it with me once a month.
Once
I've
a
got
month.
slot.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna sign you up for
I'm in.
the second whenever you're up here.
Okay.
We'll
We'll look at our calendar
doing-
and figure out what distribution.
Let's do it every 28 days.
I like it.
Because
a
that's
lot.
when you distribute every 28 days.
And then we could touch on different aspects of the, you know what I mean? Like right now we have this big pandemic thing that's going on, and so how we've been able to address that. But listen, there's going to be something else. Hopefully it's going to be something positive or something wonderful. And I'd like to hear next time from you, just to share with me what it is exactly that you do to be able to meet the needs of your.
I do everything I can. The last 3 days I have been. I sold a house to a client in Charleston, South Carolina. They're moving down here, military.
Okay.
And because of the pandemic, they have not been able to move. And so for the past week, I've been in there every single day helping get things painted, which I haven't been painting. I'm not a painter.
Yeah.
But meeting
Supporting the
painters,
You're right.
making sure all the appliances get in there because they've ordered new appliances, refrigerator and things like that. But sending them pictures, making sure the lawn. I have a client in New York who hasn't been able to move because of the pandemic, making sure that his lawn gets mowed, making sure. And you know what? Am I any better or worse than any other realtor? I don't know. I just do what I can do to make them feel comfortable, to make sure their needs are met, to try to take care of them.
Absolutely. Well, to try the golden rule, to try to treat people the way that you would want to be treated. You know what I mean?
I'm going to send a shout out to my boy North Thornhill's watching us. Charlie Mizell, a good friend of mine. And hopefully I'll see at some road races here shortly. I usually sponsor a road race for Memorial Day.
Okay.
The city's not, they're not issuing permits.
Okay.
For road races and parade permits. What you really need is parade permit. And so the thought was to go virtual, but I'm not a virtual guy. I want, when we have the race, hopefully we can schedule a date later, if there's an open weekend. That's the goal of running 5Ks, is to get people involved, because I have some of my best friends I've met out running these races, so that is going to be postponed. But hopefully here shortly we can all get up. And hopefully I can see Charlie maybe July 4th, hopefully, Independence 5 Day.
You also
5K.
do something with, forgive me if you don't want me to mention this, but we got Theology on Tap.
Yep, Theology on Tap tonight at 8 o'clock with, it's a faith-based, Catholic-based, but we welcome people of any faith if they want to talk about, Christianity.
You got it?
Yeah. And theology, we bring up a lot of different topics, that are hopefully informative to every aspect of Christianity. But that's with Father Jason, Ben Davis, Alan Sanderson, and myself. I do more of the producing on that one. I'm not here up at the front, but
you're behind the camera.
I get a little bit of camera
right.
time.
Well, and you, your son and your nephew had their big debut,
Yes.
which I listen, guys. If you want to have a hoot and just have a great time, the next time that his son and nephew have their show, man, I really literally enjoyed that. I was looking for a number to call in.
We've started that one, and I created. They're not on Facebook, but we have a Facebook page,
right?
And it's called Small Town Podcasting.
Okay.
And so they get on there. They're actually going to do a show tomorrow afternoon, probably around 1 o'clock. And I think they're going to have VSU's basketball coach in.
Really?
Coach Mike Helfer.
Big deal.
So
I like
I'm
it.
hoping that works out. But they're 13 years old, and they needed projects to do outside of school. And you know what? They've been in theater. They've been in different things. And so they enjoy getting in front of the camera.
It was a great time. It was a hoot, and I enjoyed it. So a little shout out for them. They did awesome.
But I know we had at somewhere on the web we were sideways. But
did it get fixed?
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know.
I don't think from the real estate book. If you're watching on the real estate book, we've had several come on. I think that it was straight there, and I think it's your phone that we're going to have to work on.
It's going to be okay. I don't think we're going to be able to flip it. I'm probably going to have to
delete it and share the
there you go. There you go. Yeah, from yours.
The feed. So, but it will be on the real estate book for everyone to see.
Good deal.
So hopefully we'll be back the next 28 days.
Absolutely. And listen, I just want to thank you personally.
Thank you.
We shake
well,
hands.
it has been a wonderful time. My first guest ever here on the show. You're going to have to help me come up with a name for this show.
We'll do it.
And because hopefully, let me. I got too many devices here. This
Yeah.
is what you have to do when you're the star.
Yeah,
and
you
you're
got
the producer.
You're basically like you're just like Joe Rogan. Again, I mentioned that earlier when I was coming on. You're Joe, and I'm gonna not be Alex Jones, but I do wish I could get those hits. that Alex gets.
But yeah, I'm gonna try to have different people from the real estate industry, maybe some closing attorneys, maybe some finance people, mortgage brokers. But the real estate industry is hot. You can call me if you have an agent. Support your agent. Support your local agent. But you can also call me for any of these listings in this book. And but you know what? If you have an agent, you're working with an agent, use that agent because they've put in time and effort into you. So be loyal.
Absolutely.
All right. We are going to hit the music, and hopefully we can transition out of here.